a desolate stretch of Connecticut backroad, where the autumn leaves cling to skeletal trees like desperate fingers. It's November 27th, 1981. The clock ticks past midnight, and the air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and impending rain. A young woman named Leslie Shelley, just 17, stands alone under a flickering street lamp, her thumb out in a futile plea for a ride home. She's tired from her shift at the mall, her breath fogging the chill night, unaware that the gravel crunching under approaching tires isn't salvation. It's the whisper of death itself. The car slows, a nondescript sedan cutting through the fog like a predator's gaze. Inside sits Michael Bruce Ross, 22 years old, his face a mask of boyish charm, high cheekbones, soft brown eyes that could disarm a saint. He leans over, flashes a smile that crinkles the corners just right. Need a lift? His voice is smooth, almost soothing, laced with the faint accent of a small-town boy done good. Leslie hesitates, but the cold bites deeper than her instincts. She slides into the passenger seat, the door clicking shut like a trap springing. As the miles unspool into darkness, conversation flows easy at first. School, dreams, the mundane rhythm of youth. But then the questions turn sharper. Where do you live, alone? His grip tightens on the wheel, knuckles whitening like bleached bones. Leslie senses the shift, a prickling at the nape of her neck, but it's too late. The car veers off the highway, into a shadowed thicket where moonlight barely pierces the canopy. Ross's charm evaporates, replaced by a feral hunger. He lunges, hands like iron vices clamping her throat. Her gasps turn to gurgles, eyes bulging in the dim glow of the dashboard. The struggle is brief, brutal, a symphony of muffled screams and tearing fabric. When it's over, her body slumps limp, discarded like yesterday's trash on the roadside embankment, partially hidden by overgrown weeds, a silent testament to the monster who drove away unscathed. This was no random act of rage. It was the birth of the Roadside Strangler, a phantom who would haunt Connecticut's quiet corners for years. Michael Ross wasn't born a killer. He was forged in the fires of a fractured childhood, where love twisted into something poisonous. Raised on a sprawling farm in East Killingly, the eldest of 6, young Michael learned early that affection came with strings, his mother's domineering grip, her emotional tempests that left scars deeper than any blade. By his teens, those tempests brewed inside him too, explosive rages, a burgeoning obsession with the forbidden. Pornography became his escape, fueling fantasies that blurred the line between desire and destruction. At Purdue University, away from the farm's suffocating embrace, the darkness simmered. He dated, dreamed of law school, but beneath the surface a predator stirred, waiting for the right road to unleash hell. Leslie Shelley's body was found 3 days later by a jogger, whose dog refused to stop barking at the ditch. She lay half-covered in frost-killed leaves, purple bruises blooming around her throat like obscene flowers. The medical examiner counted 8 distinct finger impressions, deep, deliberate, almost loving in their precision. No sexual assault, no robbery, just death for death's sake. Detectives called it overkill. Michael Ross called it release. By spring 1982, the hunger had become a rhythm. Tammy Williams, 16, vanished from a quiet street in Griswold after visiting a friend. Her body surfaced weeks later in a wooded ravine, naked, strangled, eyes staring blankly at the canopy. Then came Deborah Smith Taylor, 23, abducted while walking home from her night shift. Same marks, same cold signature. Connecticut State Police started connecting dots no one wanted to see. Pretty girls, lonely roads. A killer who left no evidence except the terror frozen on their faces. What terrified investigators most wasn't the brutality. It was the silence. Ross never gagged his victims. He wanted to hear them beg, wanted those final whispered pleas to echo inside his skull for weeks. After each murder, he'd return to his egg farm job in Lisbon, smiling at coworkers, feeding chickens while replaying the sounds in perfect detail. At night, he'd masturbate to Polaroids he took of the bodies, souvenirs, hidden in a metal box beneath the barn floor. Police had a ghost. No fingerprints, no tire tracks, no witnesses. Just a growing list of missing daughters and a nickname whispered in precincts. The Roadside Strangler. By 1983, Michael Ross had graduated from Cornell with a degree in agriculture and moved into a quiet apartment in Jewett City. To neighbors, he was polite, soft-spoken Mike who waved while mowing the lawn. Inside his head, the screams never stopped. The urges were no longer nocturnal. They were constant, a roaring static that only strangulation could silence. On April 22, 1984, 14-year-old Wendy Lincoln and her best friend, April Brunes, disappeared while walking home from a convenience store on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Witnesses saw a clean-cut man in a blue Toyota offer them a ride. They accepted. Hours later, Wendy's body was found in a rock quarry, naked and strangled. April was discovered days later in a drainage culvert. Same ligature marks, same vacant stare. For the first time, Ross killed two at once, an escalation that sent Connecticut into panic. Schools locked doors. Parents drove their kids everywhere. Curfews became law. But Ross was evolving. He began writing anonymous letters to police, taunting them with details only the killer could know. The exact shade of April's nail polish. The song playing on the radio when he crushed their windpipes. Detectives realized they weren't hunting a disorganized madman. They were up against a calculating predator who got off on their helplessness. Between murders, he worked as an insurance salesman, wearing pressed shirts and a friendly smile while fantasizing about the next pair of eyes that would bulge under his thumbs. The double life was perfect camouflage. No one suspects the guy who sells you life insurance of taking lives for sport. June 1984 to November 1985, 4 more names. Robin Stavinsky, 19. Leslie Levine, 16. Dawn Mendelson, 14. And finally, Sung Ngachtu, 25 on Thanksgiving night. 8 confirmed dead. Connecticut lived in terror, but the net was tightening. Detectives finally matched Ross's blue Toyota to witness descriptions and found microscopic blood traces in the trunk. On June 28, 1987, plainclothes officers knocked on his door in Lisbon. Michael Bruce Ross opened it smiling, coffee in hand, and calmly said, "I think I know why you're here." In interrogation, the mask shattered. For 17 straight hours, he confessed everything, voice flat, almost bored, describing the exact moment each girl realized she was going to die. He claimed a sexual sadism disorder, said the urge was like a migraine that only killing relieved. Prosecutors offered life without parole if he pleaded guilty. Ross refused. He wanted the death penalty, said he deserved to die for what he'd done, and begged the families to let him. On May 13, 2005, after 18 years of appeals, Michael Bruce Ross was strapped to the gurney at Osborne Correctional Institution. At 2:25 a.m., the lethal injection began. His last words, no regrets. Connecticut's worst nightmare ended with one quiet heartbeat.